Welcome back, Math Marvels. We've spent a ton of time with middle schoolers and even some high schoolers. So we're going to go way back and talk about math on the other end. We're going to talk about tenness today. And our counting system is a base 10 system. I like to think that's because we started off with 10 fingers and it was easiest to count with these fingers that we had right in front of them. And so the idea was we always had these digits here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 that became the basis for all our counting. And if you have young kids, you know that they always start by learning how to count just with their fingers. And this is the first big step to learning mathematics around the kindergarten age, is being able to count to 10 from 1 to 10 forward and 1 to 10 backwards. Another thing that they'll start to learn how to do is just looking at just from numbers 1 through 10, they'll learn how to recognize the distance between two numbers. So for example, if I have 4 and 8, I might ask, how far away is 4 from 8? And if you have kids, you'll notice usually they'll bring up 4 fingers and they'll count how many more to get to 8. They'll need 1, 2, 3, 4 more. And that's usually how they start by just counting with their fingers. But using just this little simple technique, we can also have them count from here. This is their start. They're going 1, 2, 3, 4 more. So both of those will start to make sense. And it's the same distance, and this is a big idea, that it's the same distance if you go backwards. So if I'm at 8, I'm still going back 1, 2, 3, and 4. And notice how that movement matters. Sometimes kids will go from here and they'll start from here and say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So look out for that and know that this is a starting number. We're moving from here to 1, 2, 3, and 4. Same thing will happen with their fingers. If they start from this finger over here, they might start to count it as they're going from 4 to 8. So that's our first big technique. Learning tenness is a huge part of learning mathematics. A lot of parents have also talked to me about their kids' math homework with these weird boxes, like 2 rows of 5, and these are called 10 frames. Why? Because it's a frame of 10. And so what's the big deal about these? And this is another huge concept teaching tool in mathematics, and it's connected to being able to just look at an image and figure out how many. So for example, if I put this down, instantly you'll be able to look at it and say, oh, 3 are filled in. So this is a technique called subitizing, meaning we can automatically see it and see 3. We're not necessarily sitting there and counting 1, 2, 3. And that is a huge developmental stage for kiddies, because they'll look at this in the beginning, they have to literally count it 1, 2, 3, but eventually they'll be able to sit and see it and recognize 3. So this type of tool helps with that, and you'll probably have teachers either filling them out together and asking, well, how many do you see? And kids will be able to look at it and they're learning the group. So they might see, well, I see 4 and 2, so I see 6. You might have homework that's asking a kid, fill 8, fill 9. And so it's really important that they're grouping these things together. The other great game that kids will play with this in school is they'll figure out how many to 10. So they're learning to see not only what's there, but how many more you need to get to 10. So for example, if I did this and they see 5 and 2 is 7. So they're recognizing this, and usually it's bunched by 5. So they see 5 and 2, so they'll get 7. So they'll see 2 sets of equal numbers in the beginning. And they'll think, well, how many more do I need to get to 10? And they'll start to see this empty space and also begin subitizing, and they'll see, well, I have 3 empty. And this is cool because then kids start to notice the pairs that make up 10. So they'll start to notice 7 plus 3 makes 10. 1 plus 9 makes 10. 2 plus 8. We already did 7 and 3. 4 and 6, and 5 and 5. And that's real important that they start to recognize what sets of numbers make up 10. And they'll also start to recognize that there's I can reverse these. So 3 and 7 is the same as 7 and 3. So you'll start to see kids play with those numbers. Now, I started with just looking at 5 because when kids are young, it's really hard to count up from bigger numbers. So if they're thinking about something like 8 plus 7, that's a bigger number. You're not going to see that in kindergarten or first grade. But they're going to start off with these nice little 10 frames and just ask kids to fill in certain numbers and see if they can do that quickly. Or you fill in numbers and see if they can count it and automatically, fluently tell you how many. And then you can ask them like, well, how many more to get to 10? And that's a great game you can play with your kiddos.